On the 8th of December 2025, at the plea and trial preparation hearing in this case, you pleaded guilty to dangerous driving and to causing death by dangerous driving. Those two matters on the indictment, counts 1 and 2, cover episodes of your driving the evening of the 18th of October 2005 between 11 p.m. and 11:30 p.m. when you drove from central London to Roding Lane South in Redbridge, and secondly when on Redbridge Lane you hit and killed Yubin Tamang as he was crossing the road. Counts 3 and 4 of the same indictment allege that at the time of causing the death of Yubin Tamang, you were driving whilst over the prescribed limit for alcohol, and lastly, after causing his death, you embarked on a further episode of dangerous driving as you made your way from the scene of the fatality to your home. On your behalf, a written basis of plea document was provided. That document is dated the 8th of December 2025. In that document, you set out that your guilty pleas to counts 1 and 2 were on the basis that you drank 3 glasses of brandy and coke whilst having a meal in central London. When you went to drive home, you claimed you saw 4 people in a Mercedes A-Class who you say looked suspicious and who you thought may pose a threat to you or your car. The basis of plea speaks of an incident some years before when you had been approached at gunpoint and your vehicle taken. You said that on the 18th of October 2025, you believed you were under threat and were being followed, and this led to your erratic and dangerous driving. It is also said this led to the sudden increase in speed before the collision, the subject of count 2. You then wanted to get home as quickly as possible as you thought you were still under threat. Once home, you said you consumed 6 to 7 shots of Chirok vodka mixed with ginger beer and had a cannabis cookie. You say you then dozed off before being woken by the police. At the police station, you say you told a legal representative that you had drunk vodka in the hour or two before your arrest, had consumed a cannabis cookie and signed a written document to that effect at the police station. You do not understand why police records show something different. You accepted that you may well have been over the drink-drive limit when you got into your car from that restaurant, but if so, it would not have been by much. At that stage, a timetable was set for matters in that basis of plea to be considered, along with further consideration of the evidence in support of counts 3 and 4. Having given time for inquiries to be made by your solicitors and by the Crown Prosecution Service to consider the account set out in that written basis of plea, I note that no vehicle can be seen on any available CCTV to follow your car. You said you had been at the Omi Lounge and that at no point can any car be seen to follow you as you have suggested. On your behalf, today it is said that you maintain that you believed you felt under threat, albeit it is accepted there is no independent evidence of that, and no evidence has been called on that issue on your behalf. Whilst I can accept what happened in 2017, having viewed the footage that has been collated, I do not find your belief to be one that mitigates this driving or the seriousness of it. Separately, I note evidence of the state of your car following the collision, which shows significant damage to the windscreen. An addendum basis of plea document was provided on the 2nd of March. In that document, you accept that at the time of the collision with Yubin Tamang, your blood alcohol reading was 45 micrograms of alcohol per 100 millilitres of breath. The legal limit is 35 micrograms, and so you accept being over the limit for driving and by a significant margin. As you now accept the alcohol level and also that you failed to stop after the collision, it is not necessary for there to be a trial on counts 3 and 4, and so those counts will lie on the file, on the court file, with the usual direction not to be proceeded with further without the leave of this court or the Court of Appeal. Turning then to the events of Saturday the 18th of October. In the early evening, you drove into central London from your home in Woodford. You were driving your BMW M5, a high-performance vehicle. The journey took about an hour, and you arrived in the Bloomsbury area just after 8:30 p.m. As you were later to accept, whilst in central London, you consumed alcohol before then driving home. Your return journey started about 11 p.m. Much of that journey captured on CCTV. A chef, Nico Segara, was riding his motorcycle along Goode Street. As you drove past him, your car brushed his leg, causing him to stop and to put his foot to the ground. You did not stop. You drove on and drove through a red traffic light. When the lights changed to green, the motorcyclist followed your vehicle. When he did so, he observed you drive through 2 further sets of traffic lights at red. You turn left into Gower Street and then right into Torrington Place, again passing through a red traffic light. You then continued along Byng Place into Gordon Square, passing through yet another red light. As you drove into Tavistock Square, there was slow and stationary traffic. You then drive onto the pavement outside the Tavistock Hotel to pass that line of stationary vehicles that were waiting at a red traffic light. You then drive through yet another set of traffic lights at red and collide with a Mercedes car. You continue into Tavistock Place, stopped momentarily before then driving away. The motorcyclist, Mr. Segara, stopped to speak to the driver of the Mercedes, Mr. Ansari. He checked that he was uninjured and then continued to follow your car. When you stopped at a red light in Sidmouth Street, close to Grayson Road, he took a photograph of the registration plate of your vehicle. Mr. Ansari was driving his car as a taxi that night and had a passenger. He was driving towards Holborn. He recalls travelling slowly in Tavistock Square at its junction with Gordon Square. He saw your car come towards him and having passed through a red traffic light. You tried to get across the road in front of Mr. Ansari but stopped. Mr. Ansari continued to drive forward. As he passed, you drove on and collided with the back of his car on the driver's side, close to the rear wheel, before then driving away at speed. Mr. Ansari called the police at 11:03 that evening, and he later took a video of the damage you had caused to his car. Yubin Tamang, a 20-year-old man from Nepal, a university student living in Berkholt Avenue, near to where he was killed, was walking along the pavement of Redbridge Lane East. He looked, checked the road was clear, before crossing the road. As he was crossing that road, he was hit by your car. You were driving at a speed significantly in excess of the speed limit. Yubin was catapulted into the air before crashing onto the roadway. He sustained catastrophic injuries.